Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Lamont, and today I'm going to be talking about Shopify versus WordPress when you're selling things. And when I say WordPress, I also mean the Woocommerce shopping platform that integrates with WordPress. And I use both WordPress and Shopify to sell things. For WordPress, this is my WordPress site for In 30 Minutes. This is a brand that I own. It's basically a book brand. And then I have Easy Genie, which is Shopify. And this is a brand of basically stuff related to genealogy as well as to pets. Anyways, I use both of these platforms. I started using Shopify about a year ago because I was having a lot of frustration with WordPress. But I still use WordPress for my main book website, and I've used this for probably for the website itself for probably about 7 years, and then WooCommerce I've used for maybe 5 years or so. So I know quite a bit about both different platforms. One thing I want to mention first is costs. So WordPress, people have the impression that it's pretty cheap to operate, and it's true for a small site. But if you're operating a larger site that gets a lot of traffic, or you're operating the shopping extensions via WooCommerce, your prices will go up. So actually, for this particular website, for the hosting, I'm probably paying about $300 per year for that, plus a little bit extra for some of the shopping plugins and features that I'll discuss shortly. And then for Shopify, there's a bunch of different plans. I'm paying a similar amount for this every year, and that includes basic features as well as the hosting too. So on the cost basis, they are about the same, but where they're really different is features, and let's talk about that right now. So basically, here's my let's start with WordPress. Here is my WordPress shop. You can, if you like a book, you can add it to the cart. It'll take you through a checkout process. And then Shopify is very similar. If you see a product that you like, so let's go to my unique gifts, and let's say I want to add this particular product. It's the Dog Health Activity and Genealogy Forms Kit. I can add it. There's integration with other payment services, including Amazon Pay. You can see that Shopify has also all of these other payment services that I've integrated, including Apple Pay and Google Pay, Diners Club and Amex, all these different things. WordPress, in terms of payment options, you can integrate many things, but it is not as slickly set up. Basically, to integrate things, you have to do a lot of offsite work. That is activating, let's say it's Amazon Pay or Square or Stripe, and then there's some process in the administrative area of WordPress where you can start to add them. But I found that Shopify is integrated a bit more slickly. And actually, let's go back. So let's talk about payments for a second. So here's my Shopify website. If I wanted to add different payment settings, basically click on Settings, Payment Providers, and then you could quickly start to manage different things like PayPal, Amazon Pay, add third-party providers, alternative payment methods, and it's really well integrated. Shopify worked with these different services to make it a snap to really integrate them quickly if you've already set it up properly. So of course, to set up PayPal, you'll need a PayPal account to do that. But once you have that set up, Shopify makes it super easy to get it up and running. I found that for WooCommerce, the settings, for instance, for payments, so basically this is the WordPress interface. WooCommerce, you have to install that, then go to Settings, Payments. And it's some things are set up pretty easily. PayPal, you just basically do that, and then you can integrate it. Other things take a lot more work, and sometimes you also have to add a new plugin or extension to get it to work on WordPress in WooCommerce. I'm not very happy about that. Let's talk about some other settings that you may need to deal with. So one thing in terms of, actually, before we go there, in terms of adding products, Shopify and WordPress are quite similar. Here's the WordPress interface, and if you use WordPress, this should be familiar. Posts, media, pages. Every WordPress site has that. If you're adding products, you need to first of all get WooCommerce installed, and then you will have an option to add a product. So just hover over products, add new. In the Shopify interface, it's very similar. Click on products, and then you click Add Product to add a new one. Okay, and editing products is very similar too. If I wanted to edit this product, I would basically just click on it, and so let's just do that right now. And it would give me an option to edit it. Same thing in the WordPress. Click on all products. If I wanted to add something, I'd click on edit. Actually, one feature that WordPress has, which I think is pretty nice, is quick edit. So if I just want to edit the slug or the tags or the price very quickly, you can do that. So WordPress has a slight advantage there. And actually, it's worth mentioning right now that WordPress has another big advantage in terms of editing things, and that is editing pages and posts. So I'm not going to get into the difference between pages and posts on WordPress, but WordPress was created as a blogging platform. So their blogging tools are really quite sophisticated. Okay, so I have dozens or scores of blog posts here. I can do this quick edit thing. I can do the edit and get in there and edit. If you edit a particular page, there's lots of features that you can do to change the attributes of the blog post. Okay, setting up the visibility, posting things at a scheduled time, setting up categories, setting up more tags. Also, because WordPress has pretty good integration with plugins to manage your blog posts, for instance, editing SEO settings, that's a huge plus for WordPress. So basically what I'm saying here is that if you're a serious blogger, or you use blogs extensively with your online shopping experience for your customers, WordPress has some advantages there, I would say. Shopify, of course, you can also edit blog posts. Go to the online store, click on blog posts, and then you can add a blog post or edit ones. But I've just found that the features are pretty basic. It's basically like, creating a blog, featured image, very simple SEO stuff, but not as sophisticated as what you get on WordPress. Actually, while we are on the topic of the online store, themes. So themes are basically like a skin you put on your online store to make it look different. And Shopify provides some very basic, simple themes, and I use quite a bit of them. I use many of them. There's some free themes. You can also purchase themes. WordPress also has themes for its stores, but basically the appearance of the store is not set at the store level. It's actually set at the appearance level themes. Okay, and as you know, for WordPress has some pretty spectacular looking themes just for free. Like even the basic stuff, you can integrate that. If you're using a store, however, that's a little bit different, the way that the store will look. So you have to kind of consider, does it really match what the particular store is? And that will really maybe be changed quite a bit. Okay. So anyways, let's continue. In terms of basic settings for your WooCommerce store, that is for WordPress, there's lots of different changes that you can make to basically set up, for instance, the address of the store. One thing I've noticed with Shopify is you can actually have multiple locations. You can set that up is it in the preferences? No, you set it up in settings. And then you can change the locations, manage the places you stock inventory, fulfill orders, and sell products. On the basic version of WooCommerce, I don't believe you have that particular option. What else is available there? I have a list right here. Let's read it. Oh yeah. So for plugins, I've mentioned that, and extensions, I've mentioned that WordPress has a pretty extensive library of plugins and extensions to do things on your site. Like, for instance, I mentioned SEO for your website, some very good extensions, and also security. For Shopify, a lot of that stuff is already kind of built in. I don't need to get an extension, for instance, to create a packing slip on my Shopify store. It's like that's already built into every time I fulfill an order, Shopify makes the packing slip available for. It's like part of the stock service. I found out that for WooCommerce, I actually had to download a separate plugin or extension to make the packing slip available. I don't even remember where it is right now, but it's a separate thing that I had to download for basic shopping stuff, and I didn't really care for that. And then also, one thing that I don't like when I come to WooCommerce is like connect Jetpack to activate WooCommerce services. Now, I'm not going to get into what Jetpack does, but basically it's like another thing, kind of like a computational engine or package of features for WordPress sites, not just the shopping part of it, but other aspects of your WordPress site, including analytics. The problem with Jetpack is that it's big and it slows your site down. It causes more stuff to load. And they're asking you to download, install Jetpack, and connect this thing to get it working. But I found that that's something I don't want to do for my WordPress site. I want to keep my WordPress site as light as possible. But the problem here is that if I don't download this, I won't be able to have access to like automated tax calculation and shipping label printing. So you need to have Jetpack or another extension to do shipping label printing. Compare that to Shopify. Shipping labels are built right in. You can set up shipping zones, and it's integrated with the UPS and US Postal Service and DHL and all these other shipping services right out of the box for Shopify. For WordPress, it's not. And because I'm not installing Jetpack or not installing a separate paid plugin or extension, what I have to do when somebody orders something on my WordPress site, I actually have to go to paypal.com/shipping to create the shipping label. And it's really quite a pain in the butt. It adds a lot of extra steps to what I'm doing. So I'm not really happy with that. One other thing if you're using WordPress, you need to manually update the plugins and the WordPress features and your themes. And that can be a pain in the neck, even if you're using Jetpack, which is supposed to automate some of that. There's other plugins that automate it as well. But like, look at this. Your theme, Salient Child theme for In 30 Minutes main site, contains outdated copies of some WooCommerce template files. So, even though I've tried to automate some of this stuff, I have to update my template every once in a while, manually update it. It's a paid template. I have to update that myself. Whereas Shopify, all that, I've never had to update anything on Shopify in the more than the 1 year that I've been using it. So Shopify definitely wins on that particular thing. One other great thing about Shopify is marketing integration. And if you've used like Google Ads or Facebook Ads to promote your WordPress site, you probably know how much of a pain it is to get that set up. It's not something you can do out of the box with the WooCommerce platform. You have to get special plugins or create like special pixels on your website, or do a lot of messing around with Google Ads to create campaigns. One time I remember I created a campaign for some of the stuff on this website. I had to create something called a feed in Google Sheets for the Google Merchant account. It was just a huge pain in the neck. For Shopify, they've been really good about just automatically setting up this stuff. So you can create Google campaigns. I've already created one, and basically it integrates with my Google Ads account, and it was really, really easy to set up. I really enjoyed that. And they also have something for Facebook as well. The Facebook integration, Facebook advertising integration, I haven't been as impressed with that because the pricing is not transparent. But in terms of ease of setting it up, Shopify is much, much better in terms of integrating those third-party services or setting up automated campaigns, setting up like even stuff like abandoned carts. Shopify has a way that it will basically automatically send people with abandoned carts an email if they don't continue their shopping session, which is really, really good. WordPress and WooCommerce, if I want to set up those things, there's a lot of manual process involved, and you have to keep the plugins updated, and it's kind of a bit of a mess. So Shopify wins there too. And then the last thing I'd like to say about WooCommerce and WordPress versus Shopify is the mobile app experiences. Now, I do not have a screenshot of actually I do have a screenshot of the app. Let's take a look at that. It is in the Videos Master folder. took some screenshots of the Shopify experience. Let's see here. Mobile app, fulfill an order. I'm not going to click on those because it might have some personal information. But let me just say this. For Shopify, they created a mobile app. So if you have a Shopify account, you can download this mobile app to your phone. In the mobile app, it has maybe 60 or 70% of the functions that you can find in the desktop experience, including fulfilling orders, basic analytics. Your Shopify app will show that. But the fulfilling orders, that's a huge thing. I can fulfill an order from, or my employee can fulfill an order from the Shopify app from her phone, which is really great because they don't have to be sitting down at a desktop to print out shipping labels or packing slips or whatever. It just works out of the box and it's fabulous. As far as I know, the stock version of WooCommerce and WordPress does not offer that functionality to process orders. As I explained, even if you're processing an order on the desktop version of WooCommerce, you have to maybe you have to print the label in another service. So you're copying and pasting stuff back and forth. So this is an area where Shopify wins again, hands down. So overall, I'm going to go through everything again. In terms of manually adding products, Shopify and WooCommerce, that's a tie. Plugins that you might need for your website or for the shopping experience, I'd say that Shopify wins for the shipping related features. You don't need to download extra plugins or extensions, but WordPress and WooCommerce, they win for the sheer breadth of plugins and extensions you can get, not just for shopping, but for other things too, like SEO, blogs, photo galleries, all this other stuff. And Shopify still has to catch up a lot in that area. So I'm going to call that one a tie as well. Shopify is always up to date, and all the hosting stuff is already taken care of. WordPress, you have to do either do it manually or set up Jetpack or set up some sort of automation to try to make stuff stay up to date. And there's lots of little steps you have to stay on top of. And like, let's say that you stepped away from your website for a year, the Shopify website would keep on going as long as you're continuing to pay the fee. The WooCommerce WordPress site, I expect that you might have some issues where some critical thing needs to be addressed or something doesn't get updated and it breaks on the website, or you have a problem with your hosting service provider, you have to deal with that. So I'd say Shopify wins for the up-to-date aspect. Shipping integration for orders, Shopify definitely wins. It's basically built right into the service. For WordPress and WooCommerce, you have to set up extra extensions or Jetpack or something else. I've already mentioned this, but for content like creating a product, editing a product, adding product page features, WordPress wins hands down. It's just much more detailed. WordPress also wins for blog posts and for pages. And then for things like reports, Shopify out of the box works really, really well. We're looking at a report here right now. WordPress, if you have Jetpack installed, you can get some basic reports, but I found that usually I have to use a third-party service to get reports about the website that I'm using. And then for advertising, I said this before, the marketing integration with Shopify is vastly superior in terms of the main platforms that people look at, which is either Google or Facebook. It's really very, very well integrated. With WordPress or WooCommerce, you have to set stuff up on your own. So for campaigns for my WordPress site, I had to go to my Google Merchant account and set up a feed to put all these products into Google. It's a pain in the butt. Facebook also takes a long time to deal with. So Shopify has really done a lot of great work to make the integration with the website a lot better for Facebook and for Google at least. And then finally for the mobile app, the Shopify mobile app, I don't have a screenshot, I'm sorry about that. It is vastly superior to the WordPress experience. I don't even know if there's a WooCommerce mobile app. I haven't looked into it, but because I already know that, for instance, shipping is not integrated with the desktop version. So right away that if there is a WordPress or WooCommerce mobile app, it doesn't work nearly as well as what Shopify has right out of the box. So overall, WordPress has a couple strengths, especially in the editing pages, and a few other very basic services like different types of plugins that you can use and extensions. But overall, I'd say Shopify, in terms of ease of use, it's far easier to use. And for a lot of people running their business, they don't want to be dealing with website stuff all the time. And in that case, I'd say instead of using Woocommerce and WordPress, unless you already have a blog that you want to preserve, I would say consider using the Shopify experience. It's just a lot easier to use, and it's really optimized for shopping. My name is Ian Lamont. You can find a lot more tips and advice on how to use these different types of platforms on my website, leanmedia.org. It has a blog with lots of posts about Amazon, Shopify, WordPress, as well as a video channel, which includes many videos about this stuff too. My name is Ian Lamont. Thank you so much for watching.